Let me ask you something brutally honest. When was the last time you truly understood what your clutch was doing every time you twisted that throttle? Be honest. You see, most riders, yes, even the experienced ones, are unknowingly treating their clutch like a disposable toy, not out of carelessness, but because they've been lied to by myths, bad advice, and laziness disguised as riding habits. And the worst part? They don't even realize it until it's too late, until they smell that burnt friction, until the bike starts jerking, or until the clutch gives up completely in the middle of traffic, or worse, during a high-speed run. But here's the catch. This destruction doesn't happen overnight. It's a silent killer. It builds up slowly. Every time you half-release the lever without fully committing. Every time you ride the clutch at a red light thinking it's just for a second. Every time you feather it like a scared beginner while going uphill. Little by little, your clutch dies not with a bang, but with a whimper, and you don't even know you're the one pulling the trigger. Now, you might say, hey, I've been riding for years. I know my clutch. And that's where the brainwashing begins. Because this false confidence, it's exactly why most riders stay stuck in a loop of costly repairs, reduced performance, and unnecessary replacements. Manufacturers won't tell you this. Mechanics won't stop you. Why would they? A worn-out clutch is money in their pocket. Your riding buddies won't correct you either, because they're likely making the same mistakes. You've been conditioned to treat the clutch like it's some kind of brake or throttle hybrid, but it's not. It's a precision tool, your only link between the engine's power and the road's resistance. Abuse it. And it won't just fail, it'll punish your entire riding experience. So if you want your clutch to last, if you want smoother rides, quicker launches, and fewer repair bills, then stop doing what 90% of riders do. Because if you keep riding like them, you'll keep suffering like them. In this video, I'm going to expose the exact habits. 1. Riding the clutch at red lights, the habit that slowly murders your plates. You're at a red light, you've stopped, but your hand? Still pulling the clutch in. Why? What exactly are you waiting for? A green signal or a burnt-out clutch? See, holding the clutch in while idling might feel convenient. You think it saves you the micro effort of shifting to neutral. But here's what's actually happening. You're forcing constant pressure between your clutch plates, keeping them half engaged, even when the engine is at rest. And this constant tension? It creates microscopic wear. Not visible, not audible, but slowly corrosive. Over time, this builds up heat and friction, which means your clutch starts glazing, losing grip like a worn-out tire on a wet road. And by the time you realize it, your clutch no longer catches like it used to. You're revving, but there's no bite, just slippage. The fix? It's insultingly simple. Shift to neutral at red lights. Let your hand rest. Let the clutch breathe. You're not saving time by holding it in. You're just digging your own financial grave. You didn't buy a motorcycle to burn out parts while sitting still, did you? 2. Half-releasing the clutch in low-speed traffic. The death by feathering syndrome. Traffic jams. We all hate them. But they're not just painful for your sanity, they're a slaughterhouse for your clutch. Why? Because every time you're feathering the clutch in first gear, riding at 5 miles per hour, trying to balance the throttle and the lever, you're grinding your clutch plates like peppercorns in a steel grinder. And here's the mind bender. You think you're controlling the bike, but what you're really doing is using the clutch as a crutch. You're making it do what your throttle control and body balance should be doing. Constant feathering builds up heat. Heat leads to expansion. Expansion leads to slippage. Slippage means you're now compensating with more throttle, which leads to, guess what? More wear. The fix? Practice clutch less throttle control at slow speeds in a safe, open area. Learn to use your rear brake to stabilize instead of relying on the clutch to catch you. Master this, and your low-speed skills will skyrocket without melting your clutch into ash. 3. Dragging the clutch on uphill starts the most expensive launch mistake. Let's talk uphill launches. You stop on a steep slope. You panic. You slowly let go of the clutch while adding throttle, thinking, easy does it. And that's the exact moment you lose. Dragging the clutch uphill is the equivalent of keeping your engine begging for release while holding it hostage. You're forcing it to do all the work under max resistance, and that kills its ability to grip under pressure. And what's worse, riders get used to this. They think slipping the clutch for 5-6 seconds is normal. But that heat buildup, it's boiling your friction plates alive. You might as well pour hot oil on your wallet, because that's where it's headed. The fix? Learn the rear brake hold method. Here's how. Off 1. Hold the rear brake to prevent rolling. 2. Slowly release the clutch until you feel the bite point. 3. Then Release the brake and roll on the throttle at the same time. Done right. Your launch is clean, smooth, and your clutch still alive. 4. Overusing the clutch for engine braking, a modern rider's false comfort. Let me burst a myth. Engine braking is not bad, but using your clutch to do it? That's where you're bleeding life out of your transmission. Modern riders often downshift aggressively and ease the clutch to soften the engine braking effect. On paper, sounds smooth. In reality, you're making your clutch absorb the torque shift, a job it was never designed to handle regularly. It's like using a parachute to stop a tank. Not only inefficient, but dangerous long-term. And don't forget, the more you do this, the more your clutch starts slipping when you actually need it to grip. Think of it like weakening your sword every time you use it to chop wood instead of steel. The fix? Let your engine brake directly. Instead of cushioning the downshift with slow clutch release, match your revs. Blip the throttle during downshifts to sync engine and wheel speeds. It feels aggressive, but it's cleaner, faster, and it keeps your clutch out of the line of fire. 5. Clutch control. During Uturns, where confidence ends and destruction begins. This one's sneaky. Uturns are where riders feel most insecure, so they subconsciously ride the clutch to stay balanced. And yes, it works. Temporarily. But here's the punch. You're trading control for combustion. Keeping the clutch half-engaged during a U-turn creates rotational inconsistency in the drivetrain. Your engine spins faster than the wheels want to move, and your clutch sits between them, taking all the heat. Now imagine doing this every time you U-turn in traffic, in parking lots, in tight spaces. Multiply that over months, and you'll realize your clutch isn't wearing out. It's being tortured. The fix? Switch to counterbalancing and throttle brake control. Keep the clutch fully engaged or fully disengaged. Use slight rear brake dragging and proper leaning to steer the turn. It's not just safer, it's professional. It separates the amateurs from the ones who ride with surgical control. So now, let me ask you, which of these clutch-killing sins are you secretly guilty of? Be honest. Don't worry, this is a judgment-free zone. Unless you're still feathering your clutch at every red light. Then yes, you're under surveillance. But seriously, was it traffic feathering? Hill starts? U-turn panic? Drop it in the comments below, and let's see how many riders are ready to confess. Because once you admit it, you can fix it. And when you fix it, your clutch will thank you with buttery smooth shifts and years of extra life. And hey, if you know someone who rides like they've declared war on their clutch lever, send them this video. They won't say thank you today, but their mechanic bill will definitely be lower tomorrow. If this helped you ride smarter, don't forget to like, share, and hit that subscribe button, because we're just getting started. Until next time, shift smart, ride sharp, and please, stop murdering your clutch. Catch you in the next one.